Welcome to release candidate 10. Those of you who haven't been following my private series may wonder why we've gone from 8 to 10, and the answer is that release candidate 9 appeared, and just as I was sort of preparing to do a video on it, it sort of slid out of view very, very quickly, and it had been retracted by T.Read, who said that release candidate 9 contains an entity spawn spamming bug. That sounds, entity spawn spamming, that sounds as if every single drifter and everything like that would sort of overwhelm you. I remember the first time they introduced the shivers and the bow torn. I looked out of my window at night, and this was on my last map. In fact, it was the map before last, and it was absolutely seething. It looked like an ant's nest out there. There were so many things, and I presume that's the sort of thing that has happened. So, shall we work our way through release candidate 10? Now, to start off with, it says that the wall mount block info text name is now set to the placed item. Let's come out of here. So I presume, here you are, taxidermied bicoloured angelfish, not anglefish, angelfish. Let's have a look at another wall mounted block. Now this is a shield. I don't know whether that's going to work. Yeah, purple leather reinforced round shields. So that's obviously working well. God, I love the richness of this, where I've sort of spawned everything in comparison to my own poverty-stricken little world. Right, what else have we got? Bass and carp shapes and textures have been changed to support a greater variety of fin sizes. Let's look at bass. Okay, so largemouth bass. I'm looking at the fins. Smallmouth bass. Dead. Dead. Taxidermied. Okay, right. I'll take their word on that one. So that's good. We're back to snow shoveling, guys. They are having such trouble with getting this snow shoveling correct. They are now allowing diagonal snow shoveling, and when pushing lots of snow, little bits may fall off on either side. Okay, there's a mystifying one here to me. Display what clothing can fit on what mannequins in the handbook. I need some clothing for this. Let's try and find some clothing. Right, what should we pick? A square shirt. Right, let's get rid of that. Okay. And it says it will display what can fit. Does this mean that not all clothing will fit all mannequins? I don't know. I mean, that goes on all right. I always pick the blue shirts, don't I? Let's have another look. What am I missing here? Clothing, mooncloth robe, and his square pants. Does it show up where it has to go? Or maybe it's to do with the actual mannequin. Let's have another look, because mannequin. Let's take, we don't want rotten coal, this one. Okay, suppose you've just got half a mannequin. And you put on a shirt. Okay, let's try for a, I don't know, oh, a merchant shirt, that's nice. All right, let's have a look. Can I put the merchant shirt on here? It doesn't say you can't. This is, no, I really don't understand this. display what clothing can fit on what mannequins in the handbook. Okay, well, I seem to be able to get the clothing on the mannequins, so let's not worry too much about that one. Here we go. Now, I am absolutely thrilled by this next one. Those of you who follow my private series will know that I have had the most appalling time with the actual smelting and forging. And the next item is brilliant. It says that heated forge items hold initial heat for double the time they did previously, and they cool down slower. Thank you, devs. I am absolutely thrilled at that. So they hold that heat for double the time. Do you remember I heated up 700 units of copper and it in a crucible, and it went cold after 500 units. So hopefully I can get 1,000 units in, and they cool down slower. That is much, much better. The other thing is they've also said about clothing that they have removed the handbook grouping from clothing. I'm not sure what they mean about that, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Now, here we go. Let's make it more difficult. They have increased the bear attack range again so that you can't permakite bears. And they are increasing the attack frequency on boars and wolves. Guys, we are no longer the hunters. We are going to be hunted left, right and centre. I just hope they give us fat. Right, they have upped the survival time of trapped animals from 1 day to 2 days. I think that's very sensible. I do think that's sensible. You can now also sell trapped animals in the auction house. And they have moved the Arctic white and silvery blue butterfly into warmer spawn zones. Excellent. Now, they have restored some custom spawn conditions that apparently were lost in the 1.18 update. Harsh winters setting now again. The harsh winter setting now again disables livestock spawn. So where you've got a harsh winter, deer, sheep, boars and chickens. Wolves and bears now again are on a grace time in new worlds. 4 hours for wolves, 1 day for bears. Thank goodness for that. One of the reasons I switched to having a warm spawn was that in one world where I was trying to explore whether I wanted to actually play this world, I generated it and I thought it had the conditions I wanted, but I'd gone for a temperate world, and every time I spawned in I was killed by a bear. So I think that 4 hours for wolves and 1 day is for bears gives you time to run. It says that the wild berry bushes now show a greenhouse temperature bonus, do they? Let me have a look at this. Grows in about 10 days. I presume you have to have them in a greenhouse for it to show. That would make sense, wouldn't it? Okay, so if you put these in a greenhouse, that's interesting. Yeah, it gives you a temperature bonus. So if you're in a very, very cold area, it would be obvious that this would help grow your berries in the winter. All right. They have further increased the duration of auctions by 66%. That means they've gone from 3 weeks to 5 weeks. And they have adjusted the mining speed in tooltip for quenched tools. Okay, take their word on that. Let me just have a look at this. Here we are. So under this isn't a quench tool. But the icy, so they have a mining speed. I didn't realise they had. This is new to me. So ceramic is 1.5 times, stone is 4 times, ore is 4 times, metal is 4 times, and ice is 1.8. Interesting, so we actually have the different mining speeds. Fascinating, I didn't even know we had that. Breaks rock with ease. Perfect. That's what we like, to break rock with ease. All right, that looks good. Right, now there was a crash when holding tongs to hold a hot item with no attributes. Yeah, I remember that one. That's been solved or fixed. And also pickled veggies would display incorrectly in a cooking pot. That's now been fixed. Axles in walls properly act solid in various situations, like for rooms or when blocking water or light. Okay. Now I'm going to have to explore these axles in walls. I've not got to grips with this yet. There is a server-side exception, or there was, when breaking water wheel mechanical power network with unconnected network on the far side of the wheel. So they fixed that. There were 2 issues with water wheels losing power on the second side. That's been fixed. The snow shovel, we're back to this snow shovel again, only had 1 durability. I tell you what, I don't know which dev is dealing with this snow shovel, but they are having problems with it. My heart goes out to you. Now, they fixed the ability to duplicate / destroy various blocks using snow shovels. They have fixed the oddities when shoveling deep snow. So I tell you, there is a lot going on with this snow shoveling. Now, they have disabled solid fat causing error logs. I don't know what that one was, but it's been fixed. The snow-covered cranberries, strawberries, cloudberries had full block hitboxes. That has now been fixed. And the Nadayan trader hoods were not using the correct textures. That's been fixed. They also fixed that clay tile piles would show 4 tiles at a time, added or removed, even if less than 4 were in fact added or removed. Right. And they had inadvertently switched the light brown and weathered wattle and daub textures. It's interesting because I was looking at light brown daub and I remember thinking that looks very odd. So I'm glad they've switched those 2 back. That will help me. Dead foxtails went into the ground and the body hovered above the ground bit. So the ghosts of dead foxes now fixed. They had an issue where partially worked iron blooms from before the 1.22 update would turn into random other items when completed. Good grief. I wonder what they turned into. How fascinating. There was also a butterfly related client crash. My goodness, what is it, that wonderful old saying about how one flap of a butterfly's wings can alter the future creation? Fantastic. Well, apparently it was causing client crashes, which has been fixed. The quenching and tempering buffs were not properly applied. I think that's going to take some time to settle down. The Pro Pick was not buffable. Right. And tongs couldn't be placed into the forge. All right. That's all been fixed. They've also fixed that cleaver heads couldn't be covered in clay for quenching. And the chisel needed the hammer and the offhand to be placed into the forge. Oh my goodness, I can understand how that one arose. Okay, so that's now been fixed. Wow, they're having some fun with this tempering and aren't they? Right. Now, they fixed something. They said there was a crash when going through a translocator while an empty collapsed chest is open. Oh my goodness. Okay. And also, they should theoretically fix the client-side ghost item entities on laggy servers. They think they've sorted that out. Yeah, I think we've all had ghosts. They fixed the basket trap trigger animation was rotated differently than the base block. They have fixed that the basket trap or crate trap animation was broken when both traps were placed. Oh gosh. And they fixed that placing an iron bloom on an anvil caused its temperature to drop immediately. Whoa. Yes, back to this temperature with the forging and the smelting. Now, they fixed that the command/land list would not output the correct center positions if a claim had multiple areas. And they'd fixed that when milking goats, your inventory could get out of sync and remove buckets or causes getting kicked from the server. Milking was obviously more dangerous than just getting kicked by the goats or sheep. Wow. Gosh, there's a lot that they fixed here, which means there was a lot that went wrong. And it said a broken chisel sometimes returning to the player's inventory with 1 or 2 durability left has been fixed. Shame. And they have fixed preventing a game crash on invalid world map waypoint save names file loading. It's interesting. If you've got any old waypoints, take a map, copy obviously. Another thing was that custom spawn condition harsh winters were not correctly applied to the South Hemisphere. Ah, you only got true cold in the true north, eh? That's now been fixed. You can apparently now get to Antarctica. They have fixed the spawn radius was not a circular spawn area and sometimes spawn the player outside the radius. They fixed a respawning player placed at a block edge and mitigated spawning inside blocks. That is a relief. Spawning inside blocks is never good. They have fixed a performance issue of soil ticking twice as often than needed, and they've reduced the single tick rate by another 30%. Oh. They fixed being able to quench tools without a chance of shattering them. Oh, I wish I'd known about that. I'd have quenched my tools. I'd always thought there was a chance of shattering them, and they have reinstituted that. So if you're quenching your tools, they might shatter. Okay. And they have fixed the / character in the quenching info. Okay. Apparently, they fixed something where water was not placed in World Gen schematics. And they fixed a multi-drop-down select, not remembered the checked boxes, e.g. in the Meta Spawner UI. And they've also fixed missing translation entries in the Meta Spawner UI creature drop-down, okay? They have fixed that thrown bricks got destroyed on impact, so now, presumably, if a drifter throws you a brick, can you keep it? Interesting one, that. And they fixed that Z fighting / UV issues on some clothing. Wow, sounds like we were going fluorescent as we fought. Quite fancy that. And they have fixed that it wasn't possible to reinforce or lock labelled chests. I have to say, on a big server, you really do need that facility. There's an API tweak. They have added tag register. I won't read this out, but it's / tag registry stop create merge tag set to merge 2 tag sets into one previous one. Previously, this was only possible on tag set fast. They've got an API refractor. Smithing recipes now require a code to be defined, a unique identifier that must not be changed once defined, will print a warning for 1.22 but not to be used, will be actively used once we hit 1.23. Now that's interesting, because if you've got any smithing recipe, I presume this is in addition to vanilla. I don't know. But if you're, someone who's dealing with smithing recipes, take note. There's another API tweak, allowing mods to define their own tiledungeons.json files similarly to other structures. Wow, this sounds like the mods are beginning a choice of where to lurk in the dungeon. Oh, freedom for the mods. I love it. Right. And they fixed an API, which was the tag set register and create tag set not behaving correctly. And the last fix is using a texture overlay on an entity causes a crash. And there's a special thank you to Jantech M for describing the exact line of code to change. Wow, that is a huge amount of work, and most of it related to crashes and problems that I haven't come across yet. Mind you, I'm early in my single player world. I am truly grateful that they've had a little go at the smelting issues, because they were driving me mad. And indeed, I had put in a complaint about it because I wasn't sure it was supposed to act in the way it was acting. So we'll see how that carries on in the long term. So they're saying that the release, a full stable release, shouldn't be long, but looking at the amount they've had to tweak, I'm not so sure. However, they are moving forwards with great speed. I mean, they are achieving a huge amount, if you ask me. So my summary of that is that my life looks to be easier. Whoa! Because I think the smelting and forging is going to be a little bit better. And my sympathy goes out to anybody who is trying to shovel snow. Okay, my friends. Well, let's go and see how this now affects my world. Well done, the devs. The amount of work in this is phenomenal. So thank you all very, very much. So, my friends, if you've enjoyed this, leave a like, maybe consider subscribing to me. And in the meantime, goodbye.